What a day it has been with starting from the inspiring speech of the Prime Minister, and a great day to launch the 5G services along with the on the auspicious occasion of Navratri for a lot of the for a lot of Hindus here who follow the festivals. I think one thing that struck me from the Prime Minister's speech was when he was talking to the little girl on the hologram was the fact that what would technology, is technology the solution or technology is the problem? I think the girl answered it very well, telling that, this is what I do, this is what I like. So I think the one takeaway for us in the technology industry today based on all of this is the fact that technology is neither the solution nor the problem. We need to look at ways to coexist, keeping the economic, business, social and the political environment around us. I think that's what I would like to sort of cover when I talk about the bridging the digital divide. When you are way down in the order of a list of eminent speakers, you know that most of the topics are covered. So I thought I'll pick up something which is around bridging the digital divide to sort of make the case for a digital Bharat. It's a new world that we are living in, and the internet for the future is one of the key elements what we need to sort of look at. There are three key areas that are sort of looking at. Primarily, it's a new normal, it's a new set of participants and a new set of potential that we are seeing here. What do we mean by this? The pandemic changed everything around us, the way we work, the way we live, the way we play, so on and so forth. However, for the technologists in us, what is the implication for us? Apps, applications, which was earlier on an adjunct to the business, have now become the business. The entire workforce, the way they used to work earlier versus the way they work now is completely different. So I think, and if you add all of this, has huge implications on the way the infrastructure needs to get transformed, and of course on the way the security is built around it. That's the new normal that we are living in. If you look at it in terms of new participants, earlier on it was a point-to-point communication, people looking at data, but in the new world, it's a whole lot different. You have got billions of devices getting connected to the internet. You have got an IoT in place. You have got metaverse that we're talking of. You're talking of artificial intelligence, so on and so forth. So the number of participants, the number of devices that needs to get connected is going to increase in a humongous manner. Last but not the least is the new potential. What do I mean when I say new potential? The rate and pace at which innovation is happening in our society, right, is so huge. The speed of innovation is growing up dramatically, the volume of innovation is growing up, but the cost of doing innovation is coming down. So all of these three things provide a sort of a very huge virtuous cycle for creating a new potential economy, which is what the new world will be all about. If you keep that in context, however, when you keep that in context, the digital divide, when we talk of a lot of good things that's happening in the industry, be it in terms of the smartphone users or the number of people that are getting connected to the internet or the average usage, I think that's a wrong number there. 18 GB is what we have today. 24 we are looking at, and all the speakers earlier on spoke about 40 GB to 50 GB as a number that we should be expecting. But there is a huge set of population that is sort of not covered in this whole gamut. In India, we have got 70% of the rural population who have got minimal to no access to internet, and 93% of the population, 93% of the broadband penetration is primarily in urban areas, whereas just about 30% of the rural areas has got broadband penetration. But this digital divide will show up in multiple ways, as we saw during the pandemic, be it either in terms of the education that a lot of kids got hit with, or the health availability during the pandemic. Why do we think that this model is not working, that the digital divide is happening? It's primarily because of the economics of the current environment that we work in. A typical dollar of capex requires a $5 of opex, and that, when you sort of look at it in terms of how the internet traffic has been growing over a period of time, the need for constant investment, the need for constant technological refresh in a fast growth sector like the telecom sector becomes all the more important. Hence, redefining economics of the internet is becoming essential for infrastructure providers like Cisco And the only way we can do that is by helping the operators grow revenue, reduce cost, and mitigate risk, because these are the three key essentials on which each of the businesses are running. But how do we sort of do that? If you look at the internet today, if you look at the underbelly of the internet today, it's rather messy. That's primarily on account of the fact that, this has been a rapidly growing industry. It has been scaling up dramatically, and there are tons of legacy issues that we need to look at it. A lot of people talked about the dial-up connection 20 years back when internet came to the fore. If you remember those days, data used to travel on top of on top of the voice networks, and that sort of slowly changed now with everything becoming voice over IP. Going forward, again today, if you look at it, you have got two distinct sort of networks, one for the optical and one for the IP. Going forward, we should see a collapsing of this, which will sort of again look at the economy, look at helping redefining the economics. If you look at it from a service provider perspective, there are these four key transformational shifts that service providers should are looking at to sort of redefine the economics of the internet, get a better TCO for their customers, for consumers like us, and for enterprises. The first being the flattening of the network. I talked about this earlier on, about delayering of complex networks. Today is not the time when you have separate networks. All of them should be running, especially given the proliferation of devices, proliferation of the need of management of multiple millions and billions of devices, convergence of IP and optical, flattening the networks, reducing the total cost of ownership is a very, very critical imperative. The second one is around data center transformation. In my view, it is no longer data centers, but centers of data, where you process the data either at the sensors or at the edge or at the core. Depends on the utility of the data, depends on the perishability of the data, depends on the value that the data provides, and also the cost of processing the data at a particular place. So clearly the data center transformation moving more and more towards the edge so that value is generated and quickly given back to the consumer is a very important transformation area that our clients, that the service providers are looking at. The third one is what I call as the Uberization of the OSS BSS. The OSS BSS has traditionally been monolithic and come from a previous generation where today the consumers are looking for instant gratification, looking in an API economy around how do you provide that instant gratification to the users. This requires an agile as a service sort of a OSS BSS which is able to provide more and more services to the consumer, and that's another big shift which is required to sort of reduce the cost and help increase the digital inclusion. Of course, security is ubiquitous today. I mean, the surface area has increased dramatically and everything has moved to the cloud. The erstwhile concept of having a point-to-point data center and a perimeter, today there is no perimeter. The perimeter is perhaps the cloud from where you operate. I think these are the four key transformational shifts that telecom service providers needs to look at to bridge the digital divide and be able to provide services for the entire industry and not just for the privileged. And going forward, as you look at it, we have been hearing a lot about software being a key to the Digital Bharat, and I'm not denying that. But underlying that software, there is a lot of infrastructure and a heavy lifting that needs to be done. And that's where our strategy is primarily focusing on these three elements, which is around the silicon, which is where Cisco is investing a lot of money on building its own silicon, optics, which, as you know, as the bandwidth increases and the need to faster bandwidth are required, optics plays an important role in the overall building of the networks. And last but not the least is the software. And the way we sort of looking at it in the new world is the choice that we have to give to consumers. The consumer has a choice of either taking only a hardware from you, or they're only taking the optics from you, or taking only the software and using it in a disaggregated manner, the way the sort of industry is moving towards, or buying all of them together in a modular system. That's the way we sort of see the economics of the internet being redefined. And if you look at it going forward, this is what is our commitment to a Digital Bharat. Cisco has been in this country for more than 25 years now. We have got a pretty large establishment of more than 12 to 14,000 people. But I think the first and foremost thing that we pride upon is the trust and the customer experience that we sort of work to deliver on a daily basis. And that's our commitment going forward as well, as we look to build an inclusive and digital Bharat. Thank you.